Welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving straight into the science of fitness to figure out exactly how to start a training journey safely. Because let's be real, we want to do this without completely breaking your body by week 2. I mean, we've all seen it, right? You get that massive burst of motivation, you jump into a grueling routine, and then a sudden crash. So let's look at what sports medicine actually says about building a sustainable routine that truly lasts. So let me ask you something right off the bat, and it's a crucial question. Are you just exercising or are you actually training? Because there is a massive difference between the two. Exercising is often just, showing up and hopping on whatever machine happens to be empty that day. It's totally random. But the sources show that just winging it produces random results, and honestly, it's the absolute fastest way to hit a frustrating plateau. Training, on the other hand, that means you're following a structured, repeatable plan that's actually designed to create incremental progress. When you show up with a real plan, you stop merely sweating and you start actually building. Here is our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to cover the biology of training, planning and preparation, perfecting your execution, prioritizing rest and recovery, and finally, tracking your progress. Okay, starting with Section 1, the biology of training and understanding your body. It turns out your body absolutely loves homeostasis and essentially wants everything to stay exactly the same. So when you lift a weight, you're imposing a calculated physiologic stress. Your body reacts to this by adapting. It repairs those tissues to be slightly stronger so that the next time it faces that same stress, it's fully prepared. This concept is called progressive overload. If you don't gradually increase the weight, the reps, or the intensity over time, your body literally has zero biological reason to keep growing. And this brilliantly illustrates why you really shouldn't go too light. A huge mistake beginners make is training with weights that never actually challenge them. You need that slight discomfort to trigger the biological adaptation we just talked about. A really great scientific benchmark for this is the 2-rep rule. If you finish a set of 10 and feel like you could have easily done 15, well, the weight is just too light. You want to finish your set with perfect form, but feel like you only have about 2 or maybe 3 reps left in the tank. Moving right along to Section 2, planning and preparation, so you can build a solid routine. This highly practical weekly split from Mass General Hospital is super fascinating. It completely shatters the myth that you have to grind in the gym every single day to see any results. In fact, experts note that beginners specifically need more recovery time for their joints and muscles to adapt. Notice how this plan alternates between strength, cardio, and dedicated rest days. It's balanced, it's totally sustainable, and it prevents the exact kind of overtraining that leads to burnout and nasty overuse injuries. Okay, so once you actually have your plan and you arrive at the gym, listen to me on this one. You cannot skip the warm-up. Walking straight from your car to a heavy barbell is an absolute recipe for disaster. Coaching experts stress that a 5 to 10 minute dynamic warm-up is simply non-negotiable. Step 1 is just raising your core temperature. Think a brisk walk or a light cycle. Step 2 is dynamic movement that actually mimics your workout. So if it's leg day, do some bodyweight lunges. This primes your central nervous system, meaning you'll actually be able to lift more weight with much better form right from your very first set. That brings us to Section 3, perfecting your execution and avoiding those common gym traps. Right out of the gate, you'll face a classic dilemma: machines or free weights. While science tells us both are highly effective if you program them correctly. Machines are fantastic for isolating specific muscles, and they're generally a bit safer for beginners who are just learning how to engage them. Free weights, though, offer a much higher degree of functional movement. They require dynamic stabilization and balance, which closely mimics real-world athletic movements. The real key here? If you're learning a multi-joint free weight movement like a barbell squat, check your ego at the door and start with an empty bar. Master that technique before adding a single pound of resistance. Interestingly, fitness educators globally point out a few massive behavioral pitfalls you need to watch out for. The first is ego lifting, picking a weight way too heavy just to look strong, which just shreds your tendons. The second is copying advanced athletes. An elite lifter's routine will absolutely injure a beginner. But the most surprising pitfall? Long social chatting sessions. Yeah, for real. If you talk so long between sets that your body completely cools down, returning to heavy weights immediately puts you at a massive risk for sudden muscle tears and sprains. So definitely time those rest periods. And hey, speaking of pacing yourself, sports medicine offers this really powerful insight. You shouldn't actually be gasping for air the entire time you're in the gym. To avoid burning out, you should use the talk test, especially during your cardio and endurance training. Basically, if you're doing standard aerobic training and you can't maintain a normal conversation with your training partner, your intensity is likely just too high. Keep the truly high-intensity breathless work to just 5 to 10% of your overall training volume. Moving into section 4, prioritizing rest and recovery, because honestly, this is where the biological adaptation actually happens. A huge mistake beginners make is misunderstanding pain. Look, there is a profound difference between the dull, achy fatigue of a great workout and a sharp, stabbing, unusual pain. Never try to be a hero and quote-unquote push through joint pain or sudden sharp pulls. That is your body's alarm system going off. Listen to it. Stop the movement, rest, and if that pain persists, consult a physiotherapist or medical professional immediately, so a minor little tweak doesn't become a chronic, lingering injury. For your standard, day-to-day recovery, you absolutely must respect the Trinity: sleep, hydration, and nutrition. If your sleep habits are poor, you're literally sabotaging your body's ability to repair those stressed tissues. On top of that, you don't need to stuff your face with thousands of extra calories after a moderate workout. Instead, your focus should simply be on consuming more of the right quality nutrients and staying heavily hydrated to facilitate muscle repair and flush out metabolic waste. Finally, section 5, tracking your progress so we can measure what actually matters. All right, let's bust 2 massive myths right here, right now. First up, you cannot spot reduce fat. Doing hundreds of crunches is not going to magically melt belly fat. Fat loss happens systemically across your whole body. Second, and this is a big one, stop obsessing over the scale. As a beginner, you're highly likely to experience body recomposition, meaning you are burning fat and building muscle at the exact same time. Because muscle is denser than fat, your overall body weight might not change at all, even as your waist shrinks and you look completely different. So it is absolutely vital to track your daily weights and reps in the gym and take weekly progress photos to truly see your success. So taking all of this sports science into account, I want you to look closely at your own weekly habits and ask yourself one final question. Is your current approach methodically building a stronger, healthier version of you, or is it a random routine slowly breaking your body down? The choice between just exercising and truly training is yours. Thanks so much for joining this explainer, and we will see you next time.